Tours a wrap. I miss it. I miss touring everywhere. I miss America. I miss my fans all over the world. It's not just the UK or Europe. It's fucking everywhere. If you're in Japan, if you're in Australia, if you're in fucking Thailand, I don't give a fuck. Like, I love all my fans. And even if I don't know where you are, or if I don't know that you exist, like, the fact that you know that I exist, like, I thank you for that. And if you're watching this, I really am grateful for you. I can't tell you which was the best. I mean, I could definitely say that Paris, Manchester, Hamburg. Those were probably my three. You know, I don't want to single anybody out, and I don't want to like make anyone feel whack, but those were the most memorable for me. You know, so all in all, it was a fucking insane tour. Every city was pretty much the same, although, like I said, there were some standouts. And, man, I got Capri Sun at almost every show, so I'm feeling like a fucking king. You know, it's funny, because I'll be on Snapchat, or I'll be on Twitter, and I'll be, like, personally just saying, like, things that I like, or, like I find stuff in Germany, like, I'd come across things in stores, and I'd, like, Snapchat it, or, like, take pictures of it, and I'd be like, dude, I need this in my life. And it's not a call for, like, I'm not, like, hinting at fans, like, get me this, or, like, bring this to the venue. I'm just saying, like, yo, I'm into this shit. Like, where can I need this in my life, you know? And kids would see it, right? They would see it on my Snapchat, my Instagram, all my social media stuff. And there'd be shows, and they'd bring it to the venue, like, cases of, like Capri Sun. Like, I made it very clear that I, like, out here, I mean, I've always loved Capri Sun growing up, like, in America, like, that was a thing when we were younger. But obviously, it's a thing out here in Europe. And it was one of those things where I haven't had Capri Sun in a while. You know what I mean? Probably years. And now, when I saw it out here, I think it was Germany was, like, really the place where, like, I would see it a lot, you know? And I made it clear to everyone that, like, yo, I love Capri Sun. I need it in my life. And the next thing I know, like, kids were bringing me cases and cases of, like, all this different Capri Sun and candies and, like, fucking insane, man. Like, shout out to Capri Sun. Shout out to the fans that brought me that. It was wild. Let's just say that, okay? I was overwhelmed with Capri Sun. And if you're watching this, make sure you keep bringing me Capri Sun. Or as they say in Europe, Capri Sun.
You got me bracelet and Capri Sun, and I love both of them. I say Capri Sun. I'm a dumb American, but what are we gonna do?
Oh, you know, I would be tweeting, I would be Instagramming, Snapchatting, anywhere that a fan or a supporter would reach out to me. I always make sure that I respond, you know, even when we're not performing, even when we're on our days off, or during the break in between the two legs of the tour. I'll always make sure I respond to every single message that I get from a fan. You know, it's not just meeting them at merch, it's not just performing for them. It's like, when you're not performing and you're not doing shows, like, you still have to continue to interact with your fans, you know, and I'm always doing that. That's the most important thing. And that's something that I kind of learned from Hoodie, you know. I'm not gonna lie, like, that's something that kind of rubbed off on me, just being around him and seeing how the independent thing worked. Because, like I said, I used to be signed, and the label doesn't teach you how to do that, you know what I mean? So we're all people, man. Like, people forget, like, just because, like, you have a gift or you have a talent, you're in, like, a spotlight, that, like, you're, like, greater. You know what I mean? Like, you're not greater. We're all made up of the same shit. We're all human. And I just like to remind my fans of that every single day. The meet and greets were insane. It was overwhelming because, you know, like I said, like, I would just see hundreds of kids that I didn't ever see before. You know, like I said, like, a lot of my already current fans were there, obviously, but when the meet and greet took place, like, I would just see so many new faces that I'd never seen before, and the way that they were acting or reacting to my performance or just me was like as if they had been a fan for like 100 years, you know? The meet and greets are honestly almost more important than the show, if not as important. You know, the show is extremely important because that's when you have to convince people that you are a great artist and that, you know, you can have them be fans of something that, you know, is great and that they can kind of capture or have forever, right? But when you do the meet and greet, that's when you really have to show them another side, right? You show them the performance, you show them that you have talent and that you're a promising artist. But when you do the meet and greet, you have to show them that, you know, you're a real person. You'll hug them, you'll talk to them, not just sign their whatever and like say thank you. You know, like go say other stuff, like talk to them. You know, I always try to have a conversation with all of them. I don't just look up at the camera and smile. Like, you know, that's why the meet and greet is so important. The meet and greet is so impactful to a fan or a person because it shows them like, oh wow, like he just did a great show, but he's like talking to me like I'm the same as him, you know, and I am. And they need to know that, you know what I mean? So that's why the meet and greet's super important, and they were very successful. Favorite tour memories. Let's talk about in you know, fucking Munich, when everyone pranked me on stage. We were doing numbers, and all of a sudden I'm singing my hook, and Dylan, DJ Fresh Direct, in Hoodie's band, his DJ, all of a sudden turns on like an EDM house record in the middle of me singing, and totally threw me off, and then everyone comes up and starts dancing around me. I wouldn't say that was a favorable memory, but when I look back, it was pretty hilarious. You guys got me. I'm going to get y'all next time. There were so many, though. I mean, we would Snapchat things that were going on. Of course, those who follow me on Snapchat, you know about Small White Jewish Man, you know, where Hoodie and my drummer Jamel would have push-up, like, contests, right? And it's so hilarious because my drummer Jamel is, like, this big, tall, black dude, and Hoodie's, like, a smaller kind of white Jewish dude. So it'd be like, the small white Jewish man versus the big black man. Who will win? You know what I mean? And, like, it just, my Snapchat kind of turned into, like, this movie, like, kind of series. Like, kids would, like, you know, follow up with my Snapchat to see, like, what was going to be next or what would happen. So all the memories kind of took place on there, and it was quite eventful. It was, there were too many to name, man. The fact that, like, these people don't speak the same language as me, but yet when you perform to them, when I was doing my set, it's like they're singing every lyric. You know what I mean? And what's even more crazy is that they don't, the ones that didn't know me and they don't know the songs, at the end, it's like they're singing the lyrics, man. And it's like, again, like, that breaks the language barrier. If you have a message, you know what I mean, or you have these sonics that make people feel a certain way, music is the universal language, and this tour proved that for me. You know, I performed in Greece before. That was pretty much the only place overseas I've toured, headlined actually. Other than that, I never experienced any other countries, and just go through Europe and where people don't speak the same language and they don't really quite understand the same type of slang. It's like all goes out the window when you start playing your music, because music, like I said, is a universal language. One of the illest things that I did while I was out here, which was in London, was meet this cat, Tim Westwood. I don't even gotta say this cat. Y'all know who he is. If you don't, you should. It was always my dream as a kid, especially a kid who listened to hip-hop early on, to get on Tim Westwood. And I couldn't fathom at that age how I would get on the show. You know, it's like in New York, where I'm from, you always want to, if you're into hip-hop, you always want to get on Funkmaster Flex. You know, you always want to be on funk and spit a free, you know what I mean, and show New York, you know, that you're hip-hop. Or if you have songs that you think are really big, you want it to get heard on Z100 in New York, you know? So in terms of overseas and in terms of the UK, Tim Westwood was like that thing for me, always. Like, I remember when I heard Eminem and Proof in like 2000, 2001, spit like a 20-minute freestyles with Tim Westwood. That's how I found out about Tim Westwood, was through Eminem. And I was like, damn, I want to get on this show. You know what I mean? For years, man, I found out about Tim when I was probably 12 years old, 13 years old, when I first started to really get into hip-hop. And when we played London, it was crazy because like literally we just made it back to the show by the skin of our teeth. Just made it back. Like I literally went from Tim Westwood to the venue onto stage. You know what I mean? So man, shout out to Tim, shout out to Ill Will for hooking that up and putting that together. You know, Ill Will, he reached out to Tim. They knew each other a little bit, and he basically, you know, made Tim aware. As soon as Tim became aware, he became a fan.
I'm like Raekwon, the way I say stamina, hit you in your back though. Whack, yo, listen, you ain't fucking with the circumcision. I take your dick off, whoa, that was disgusting. But let me get back into the beat. When I defeat, retreat, hit you in your motherfucking feet. I'm the jizzle like a genius. You know that I'm the sword, liquid, get this. You could never get shit, pretentious. You know that I rhyme when I hit shit.
And we went over and and he asked me, he's like, what kind of beats do you want? I was like, dog, like if you have just straight Wu-Tang, if you have like anything from Cuban Links, anything RZA, anything DJ Premier, anything Ninth Wonder, anything Pete Rock, I'm down. But he ended up just playing all Wu-Tang stuff, and I just went, man, just no written. You know, I was like, man, I was like, should I write something before? This is, you know, it's Tim Westwood, like I don't want to mess up. I want to have a dope, like show people that I'm on point. And I was like, but when I got there, I was like, you know what? This is hip-hop. Hip-hop is about messing up. Hip-hop is about improvising. And I just blacked out and freestyled for like 7-10 minutes. You know what I mean? And one of the craziest experiences of my life. Like, I made Tim Westwood. You know what I mean? I made it to that show. Like, I can't believe I could scratch that off the bucket list. Like, and that happened. So, wow. That was incredible.
Yo, we're out here in London, about to check out Abbey Road. Obviously, y'all know what the fuck that means, you know what I mean? The Beatles, like, it's my favorite band ever. As cliche as you want to think it is, you could suck a fucking dick. Because the Beatles are the best band in the fucking world. Abbey Road's about to just be very legendary. So, here we go.
We ended up going to Abbey Road, man, which was just like another thing to scratch off the bucket list. I'm one of the biggest Beatles fans I think there are, you know. The Beatles have a huge impact on my music. If you listen to my music, if you don't hear the Beatles' influence, then you're not hearing correctly. You know what I mean? So to go over to Abbey Road and to like kind of recapture the album artwork, you know, when I was crossing the zebra crossing or whatever, legendary. You know, so I'll never forget that. And honestly, that all these things that I had done out here, like the Abbey Road thing, these are all going to impact the music that I continue to make. And the experiences I had out here, you're going to hear it through my music. You're going to hear, you know, me like live through these things. And I think it's going to make my music better and more filled with life and color. And it was insane. I have no words for it, you know? And there's so much more to come. Like, you know, now it's time to go back to the States, you know, go back to New York and finish my project, my debut full-length solo project that will fully be produced by me. Of course, you'll have Illmind on there. Of course, you'll have Ill Factor on there. Of course, you'll have Static Selector on there. I'm gonna try to squeeze in everybody that's been a huge part of my career thus far, but for the most part, this is gonna be an album that is coming straight from me. You know, additional production will be from other cats. And we'll squeeze in a couple other things that make sense with what I'm doing. But this is going to be the album that is 100% coming from me. So that's really next on the agenda. And there's so much for the fans to look forward to. You know, I'm going to release, before my album, before that project I'm talking about comes out, I'm going to release so much new free shit. You know, stuff that the fans deserve. Free song here, free song there. Possibly some freestyle stuff. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of fun shit for the fans to look forward to. And I'm going to diversify myself as much as I can before my major album comes out, because I want to just get everyone familiar with all the different things that I do as an artist, because I am a hybrid artist and I don't try to be. It's what I am. So before that album comes out, I'm going to make sure that I let everyone really know thoroughly what I do and all of the things that I do.